Thanks to you, our company has been saved. Hurrah! What? There's still more treasure? Good gravy! If we collect it all, we'll be filthy rich! Louis! Where's Louis? What? You lost him? In that case... I shall go! Welcome back to WaterparkRanger's Let's Play Pikmin 2! Last episode, we cleared the debt and didn't really beat the game. Turns out there's a lot more after you get the 10,000 Pokos. You open up a brand new area, you get a beautiful meteor shower, just like in the first game for opening up the last area. But before we go there, we do need to finish off the Valley of Repose, because we did clear the Awakening Wood and clear the Perplexing Pool last episode, and the Valley of Repose hasn't been visited since, well, day 2. And for good reason. I've saved the area for this moment in the game, because while obviously the dungeons here aren't going to be as challenging as what the final area has to offer, I believe that the dungeons here are tougher than the others we've faced so far. All the rest. You'll see why. I'll explain why then. Mr. President, you've arrived. My scans indicate this planet is still heavily laden with treasure. We shall make Hockatate Freight the golden, indisputable king of deep space, long-haul freight! Then everyone will be gaudily clad in gold, like me. No, I'm unique and beautiful. Yes. Alamar, I must ask that you take extreme care so as not to insult or endanger our president. Oh, I'll make sure both of those things happen quite often. For now, where could Louis be? To be stuck on an uncivilized planet with no food at all. I'm concerned. We must waste no time in finding him. Interesting. Both times we land in the Valley of Repose, we're looking for Louis. I never thought of it that way before, actually. And typically what happens is people like to go to the last area as soon as it's opened up, just because, woot, next area's open up, let's go there, because it'll be fun to explore. And, well, I know that's all good and dandy, I do want to save it for a little bit longer. Because we got stuff here to do, and this is just traditionally what I've decided to do. Obviously, the first time I played the game, when I saw the final area open up, I'm like, I have to explore it, so I went in to have a look at it then. But now that I'm a little bit more controlled about where I go, I've decided to come back here first. Obviously, because the dungeons are less difficult, and I'm trying to do it so that they scale upwards in difficulty. Though, as you saw, a lot of things about the dungeons that we've been in so far generally are different depending on, in terms of difficulty, like, depending on how you play the game, and the things that happen while you're inside. And it's really up to chance. But I do think that I have good reason for the dungeons here being tougher than the others so far. And, like I said, I'll explain it in due time. Wow, deja vu, I said this exact thing. Anyway, you saw that we brought along, blues and whites. 2 Pikmin that we did not have the first time we were here in the Valley of Repose. Really, you can have to do much of anything in the Valley of Repose until you at least have blue Pikmin. So you'll have to have the 5 Pikmin types before you come here. So what you do is just bring your blues through there, and have them start working on that stick wall. Olimar, I suppose, can supervise them. It won't take very long, because it's just a white stick wall. Nothing tough. And now over here, you can throw some white Pikmin up to this ledge here. This weird little indent in the snow. I brought along a good amount, just because they tend to fall down when you throw them, and I'd like to have a nice supply. And then just bring the president around into the water. You'll see there's a little path in the snow that actually takes you up so you can meet up with a white Pikmin. But on the way, a burrowing snaggard comes out! I have no idea why they decided to put that there. I know some people have mentioned this, I think Chugger Conroy has mentioned this, but some things in this game just seem like they're right out of a hack. Like, why would a burrowing snaggard just be positioned right there at one of the borders of the area to just pop out and spawn, like, usually you fight bosses in arenas, that one's just BAM! Right out of the side. It's almost like the final trial challenge mode in Pikmin 1. How the burrowing snaggart just appears right, like, on the edge of the boss arena, but where the real boss doesn't even come out of there. And there was another drain there that the blue Pikmin were able to break. Unfortunately, this takes away some of the area's cool looks once the water is drained out of it. That's one of my problems with Perplexing Pools. Once you get rid of the water, I start to like the area less. And awesome! The white Pikmin were able to get past the burrowing snaggart, and so nobody was killed. There's really no reason for you to bother with fighting this snaggart. Obviously, they're for a pretty good supply of Pikmin, but you can actually get a lot more from the Toady Bloister. I don't think I mentioned this, but the Toady Bloister actually respawns every day after you kill it. And because its tail is, I think, worth 50 Pikmin, every time you defeat it, you can get 50 more, plus the giant pellets it drops. So it's a terrific source of getting Pikmin. So, I guess each area has its own boon for getting Pikmin, and for harvesting sprays. You got Awakening Wood for Spicy Spray, and giant posies that start appearing on later days. By now, some of the giant ones are probably there already. And Perplexing Pool, you got Bitter Sprays, and the Toady Boister for 50 Pikmin. And here you have a whole host of enemies, but of course this isn't one of the best places for getting sprays or getting more Pikmin, because number one, you have to fight pretty risky foes to get a lot of Pikmin, and there aren't any berry plants that actually grow here. And as you saw, there were actually 2 berry treasures here that you need whites to get, that are fairly close to each other. So I suppose that makes this area pretty quick to clear, as long as you know what you've got to look out for. This is actually one of the more straightforward areas in terms of design, because you pretty much just start off on one side and just keep moving forwards in one direction, getting the treasures and defeating stuff as you go. So the objectives here are a lot more obvious and straightforward. And this is also a good time for us to grow Pikmin, because we still, even at 500 Pikmin, I know it sounds crazy, but with this run and the risks that I fear are going to be appearing, we're going to be losing Pikmin possibly in the hundreds. And obviously you can lose no more than 100 Pikmin per dungeon in one visit, but it's gonna get crazy. Believe me, I'm expecting some pretty nasty stuff. Speaking of nasty stuff, we have an all-new enemy here, the Decorated Cannon Beetle. Although it may have the same stats and everything, like same HP as your standard Cannon Beetle, its rocks chase your pilot and roll over all the Pikmin in its path! Oh my god. That could have been horrible. As you saw there, it only aims for your captain, not the Pikmin. You're very lucky for that, because if it aimed for the Pikmin, it would possibly just run over entire armies of them. However, the great thing about Decorated Cannon Beetles is, because the rocks follow you, you can just run the rocks into walls to get rid of them, to stop them from chasing your tail, run them into the Decorated Cannon Beetle to weaken it, or run it into other enemies. Unfortunately, this enemy here is pretty tough to hit with one of those Decorated Cannon Beetle rocks, and you can only fight it with blues, unless you somehow manage to throw Pikmin on that one little island. Here's where I would recommend running it into the water, then hitting it with a Bitter Spray, just like the one in the Submerged Castle. However, because we can't hit it with Bitter Sprays, we have to fight it like this, which is pretty agonizing. So we gotta... The problem is it turns around pretty much as soon as it enters the water due to its patrol radius. So that's a big problem for us in terms of battling it, but so far we've managed to fight it pretty well. So let's just get him to come back into the water, and then we'll just fight him as soon as he tries to escape. Because look, he just jumps out of the water as soon as you get in. So I've decided as soon as he walks into the water next time, we're just going to fight him head on. Like, even if he hasn't turned around yet, let's just hit him. Oh crap! Oh no, we're getting knocked over. Okay, alright, I admit it. We were set up to lose a lot of Pikmin here. Yeah. That wasn't the worst it could have gone. I'm pretty sure on my first playthrough through the game that was a lot worse. But I think I've realized something during this run particularly about what it means to fight a Bulborb from the front. Anyway, this is my advice to you. A new little bit of information I've learned just through this run, and I've just learned it right now, so I'm going to share it. When a Bulborb is awake and you're fighting it from the front, throwing Pikmin at it, you can still defeat it without too much trouble. The thing that causes a Bulborb to do so much damage to you in that fashion and to your Pikmin army is basically when it bites you, when you get knocked over, you aren't able to attack it. And because it's not getting attacked, it has no time to recoil from taking damage, so it's just going to go and start killing your Pikmin non-stop, basically, as long as you're knocked out. So the idea is you can still potentially face a Bulborb from the front, and maybe lose some Pikmin but not get completely massacred. What causes a massacre is you getting hit and falling over and not being able to attack the enemy, because in that time, the Bulborb will just wreck you. So that's what I've learned. A little bit of useful information. And the Fiery Bulblax is, fortunately, a pretty good supply of Pikmin. Not one that you would normally want to face, just because of how dangerous it is as a standard enemy. Like I said, it probably belongs in my top 5 least favorite standard enemies in this game, just in terms of how annoying they are to fight. And usually I would recommend always using a Bitter Spray on them in battle. Bitter Spray is recommended highly for them. And as you see, we don't even have to use the A button to pluck Pikmin anymore, because our Pluckaphone can do it for us. One of the problems I have with Pikmin 2 is that I often forget I have this upgrade, and so I go around pulling Pikmin normally. But this time, I made sure to remind myself that I got the upgrade. And here we have... Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a Nintendo clock. Didn't know that they gave out such fancy little clocks, or pocket watches. Not sure how big that is, because with a Pikmin size, it's tough to tell. I know actually that in the first Pikmin, and for the first Pikmin game in the enclosed instruction booklet, They actually tell you, like, how high how tall the Pikmin are. They say, like, Olimar is about the size of a quarter, and the Pikmin are smaller still. I remember that from the Pikmin 1 instruction booklet. Unfortunately, I lost the Pikmin 1 instruction booklet, though I had the instruction booklet for the second. I like those. I think games these days don't put as much work into the instruction booklets, but we'll talk more about that in next episode.